Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys. We're back with the Hake Report. It is February 11th, and we're going to be talking about Trump and accusations. I hope you like it.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, everybody. This is James Hake, and this is the Hake Report, and I'm just texting Jesse the link to the show so that he can watch it. It is, as I said, it's Sunday, February 11th, and we're going to be talking about some interesting things that have been going on lately. If you haven't been watching the news, you may not realize that a lot of men are being accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault, spousal abuse lately. 2 White House staffers have resigned this week, and they were accused, falsely according to them, of quote-unquote spousal abuse. And they were accused of like being physically and verbally abusive toward their wives, ex-wives now. And both of these guys have been married and divorced twice. And so that's just a crazy, crazy thing that I'm going to be talking about. And I also want to talk a little bit about losing friends and open up to. I'm open to getting your comments about anything you want to talk about, including last week's show. I had a very interesting interview with a frequent caller on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. His name is Clausel Mathis, formerly known as John from Tampa. And it was an interesting debate. He basically came up with all these crazy false accusations against me and Jesse, believing us to be nothing more than shock jocks, even though we helped him out well, not me, but Jesse definitely helped him out in life in terms of thinking about being responsible and not blaming other people for your problems and all those things. And also the fact that Jesse has a nonprofit organization that he's helping men rebuild their lives and families. So, yeah, that's very interesting. So you can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-77-JESSE, because Jesse is the executive producer of the Hake Report. And so good morning, everybody. I want to share a Bible verse, but I don't have the Bible verse word for word because I have not looked it up, but I do know the gist of it. And this Bible verse says something to the effect of be blameless. It's something that Paul or somebody, one of those people in the New Testament wrote. He said, be blameless and basically present yourself as right in the eyes of everybody as much as possible. And that is something that is so important, and I think everybody knows it. It's like, I know that, but how do you do it? And that's what you're going to be tuning in for church in 2 hours with Jesse Lee Peterson. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, rebuildingtheman.com/church. And he's going to have some good input about it, which is not directly about it, but it is about it, even though it's not the verse that he's going to be talking about. But you know that you have to be blameless, and if you look at the times that we're in now, you really have to be blameless. And even if you're not, you cannot be showing it. You have to keep pushing forward, kind of like how President Trump has done. All kinds of women have accused him of all kinds of crazy things, and yet he presses forward. And he's not able to be bullied, intimidated, ashamed into doing the wrong thing, which would be stepping down or stepping aside or backing down. And unfortunately, some of the people in his staff have not led perfect lives, which who of us have, right? But a couple of these guys, Rob Porter was a talented 40-year-old staffer, staff secretary in the White House, and he was married twice. He's a Mormon, by the way, but he was married twice, and both of these wives accused him of verbal and physical abuse, which we don't know what the truth is, but we know that there was drama, and we know that they're accusing him, and we know that he stepped aside, but we also know that he denied it. At least most of the things that they said. They mischaracterized situations. In one case, this woman shared a photograph from like 2005 or something like that of her with a black eye. And and you can actually see a few photos and you see the black eye kind of going away, like healing up. And Rob Porter said, I took those photos and the story is not what's being presented. The story is that he punched her in the face and something. And we don't really know what she did. We don't know what the real story is. But the media likes to present this as, two White House staffers resign amid domestic abuse allegations, which is, so they love doing that stuff. They don't like presenting men in a good light, especially not good men who support Donald Trump. And so he was one of them. And another is featured in the thumbnail that I had for this week, which is a picture of this man, Sorensen. His name is David Sorensen, and his wife, Jessica Corbett. And they're two big political figures in the state of Maine, I believe. Maine politics. And both of them, he was involved in, I don't know if it was Maine, but I think it was. But he was involved in politics as like a spokesman, and then he was a speechwriter for President Trump in one of the specific departments, like environment or something like that. So he's a smart guy, like I said, speechwriter, and then she's no slouch herself when it comes to being influential in politics. She's friends with these two gay guys that she thanked very much for their support against her ex-husband in her accusations against him. She wrote this little blog post in this website called Medium after the Washington Post came out with this story about this man, Sorensen, and this woman saying that, basically accusing each other of abuse. So it's very interesting. And Patrick is asking, why did these guys have to resign if Trump, their boss, was not pressuring them to? And that's a good question. I don't know if Trump was pressuring them to, and apparently, I mean, according to the story, he wasn't. He was not. The Rob Porter, he only resigned after the second woman, I believe, came out against him, the second ex-wife. And Sorensen said, I resign because I don't want to be a distraction in the White House from Trump making America great again. Which I agree with you, Patrick. I mean, I don't know if you're saying this, but I don't think they should resign. Because look at this. It looks like a win for them. It looks like a scalp, as they call it, when we lose staffers from the White House over allegations. Because people are so shallow and judgmental, and they like to assume things, as you saw last week, by the way. They like to assume the worst about people. And it's kind of human nature. Like, you visualize something and you can't get it out of your mind. You visualize, oh, this person might have done that. Oh, he might have done this sexual thing, or oh, he might have done this violent thing. But you also have to consider what the women are doing, what they are doing. And Jesse has a very good article, by the way, Jesse Lee Peterson, on worldnetdaily.com, which will be coming out today, so look out for it. Follow Jesse on Twitter at JLPTalk, and he will tweet it out, and you'll see it throughout the week. But he's writing about these accusations are wrong. Like, you can't just be coming out and accusing people. They're acting like the FBI, like this guy shouldn't have an FBI security clearance, for example. And I don't know exactly what that is. I don't understand what a domestic dispute that potentially turned violent between the man and the woman, because I suspect that she, in these cases, may have been involved in the physical fighting as well, if there was physical fighting. There was a black eye. But I lost my train of thought. But the point is, you can't be assuming. Oh yeah, Jesse wrote about this, and he said that these people who are making these accusations are doing it to hurt the man. They're doing it to, in one case, this woman that's on the cover of the thumbnail of the Hake Report episode, she is a never Trumper. She's retweeting James Comey calling, underhandedly calling Trump and his supporters, or his fellow Republicans who support him, like weasels and liars and stuff like that. And he's a weasel and liar. James Comey is a former FBI director who is a weasel. He's like a people pleaser, and people pleasers are weasels. I'm sorry to say. And, he's also just a nice guy, but fake, and niceness is fakeness. So I don't think these guys should have stepped down, but they did. And Jesse made the point during the week. If you haven't heard him on the show, I think he said it the next day after I think Rob Porter resigned. He said, "You also shouldn't be marrying twice. Once is enough. Once is plenty. If it doesn't work, well, I mean, the Bible says God hates divorce. Don't get divorced. But I guess, well, and people's hearts are hard, so they do get divorced. But don't get remarried again." In this case, this man's Sorensen, his second wife was worse than the first because the first wife said that she never knew him in the 10 years that she's known him, which is a short time to be married twice. But in the 10 years that she's known him, she's never known him to be abusive nor violent. So that tells you that this woman, Corbett, Jessica Corbett, I think, the ex-wife of Andrew Sorensen, is a drama queen herself and maybe not the most honest person. Most likely not the most honest person. If she's another Trumper, that tells you something. By the way, this reminds me, I wanted to make an interesting point. They talk about people who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Well, I want to make the point that if you don't understand present reality, then you're doomed to repeat the history because you may know history, but that may not make you smart or wise or able to avoid what's going to happen next. We've seen time after time, for example, of these guys getting accused, resigning, and then they're disgraced. Or, all kinds of situations. There's situations where blacks will accuse people of racism or the media will accuse people of racism. And those people will back off or cater to them. And the whole world follows suit because we have no reason to support you. And so, in a sense, I can only go so far defending Rob Porter and this Sorensen guy because they backed off, they backed down, they resigned. So I can only defend them so much. Whereas President Trump, he stood by himself. He stood. And that forced everybody's hand to take a position on guilt or innocence, basically. And it forced people out of the shadows, as they call it, out of hiding behind, oh, well, there's allegations, so maybe it's true. It forced people to come out of hiding and expose their real selves, whether they really support him or whether they don't. And so that's kind of like a history repeating itself because one man, Trump, knew to stand and he didn't back down, and it forced the rest of us to either support him or not. And it was so refreshing to see that happen. I saw person after person after person back down over phony cries of racism and sexism and stuff like that, which annoys me to no end. But on top of that, there are people who are quote unquote never Trumpers, or who kind of oppose Trump. They like him and for some things because they're conservatives and because they're smart, but they know history, but they can't interpret the present times. And one of the things about the president that is so important, probably the number one thing that's important in my mind, which I don't know a lot about the world, but I know this, that the way that the potential he has to change the culture and to set a good example as a man is unbelievably important. That is probably more important than any policy thing that he can enact because he's changing the culture. He's opening up people's eyes, which is like a kind of a permanent change. And that's even more of a permanent change than the wall, because although the wall will last more than people's lifetimes, people, when their minds change, when they kind of awaken, we become better, and we become a better example for kids and everything. So that is something that's so good. I'm very grateful about that with President Trump, because he doesn't back down, and it's because he doesn't back down when he's right. You saw it with the Charlottesville thing. He was very fair-minded. He said that there are good and bad people on both sides. By the way, this Charlottesville thing, I've mentioned it before where they were trying to take down this statue of this Confederate person and another statue maybe of Robert E. Lee, who was a good man, by the way, according to real historians. I wouldn't have been for taking down the statues. I might have gone to that event, although I may have avoided it just because I know that Antifa is over there, and then there are these kind of extreme end of the alt-right where they hate Jewish people and all that stuff, and I wouldn't necessarily want to be associated with that. But the pure protest of them taking down the Confederate monuments, Robert E. Lee, for example, is a better man than any person who is trying to take down his statue. He's a better person than any of them. And yet they're trying to take it down. So Trump is right. There are good and bad people on both sides. And, well, I don't know if there are any good people who are, maybe they're just good but brainwashed, and they're going to stop being liberals after a while. And this does happen. There are very good people who switch from Democrat to Republican, from liberal to conservative, and from whatever. People switch all the time. Look at this guy, David Brock, this dirty guy from Media Matters, I think, homosexual activist, anti-anything good. He used to be a conservative guy. So people switch, and you can't be judging. That's why Jesse says it's between good versus evil. It's not even, you can't even say Christian versus anybody else. You can't say Jew versus Christian or Christian versus atheist, because so many people call themselves Christians and they're not. So you have to be, it's good versus evil. It's not even liberal versus conservative or Republican versus Democrat, even though the Republican platform is the side of good. But there's so many fakers. And we have to stop being fakers. Many of us have to overcome and become more real. So the thing, I don't know if I finished making my point about, there's a lot of historians, including like very popular people who are historians, very knowledgeable, but they fall for the racism thing, they fall for the sexism thing. Many of them were kind of never Trumpers. And so that shows you that those who don't know history are not the ones who are necessarily the only ones doomed to repeat it, because people who know history and cannot interpret the present times are just as bad, because they end up opposing the good people. They end up opposing Trump, for example, because Trump is so bold and shameless, kind of, that they're taken aback by him when they don't realize that they should be supporting him and working with him. So, for example, somebody like President Trump, who's not the most perfect in his like exact knowledge of everything that happens. He said there was this tweet from The Hill or something, that Trump doesn't like to read. He says he's not known for reading his daily briefings. He says, because reading is not my preferred method of learning. And this reminds me a lot of Jesse. Jesse does not although he does read, and he gets deep stuff from what he reads. And I've heard about that President Trump reads. He reads like the New York Times and stuff. And so they do read, but it's not their preferred method of learning. And those guys are two very brilliant people in our lifetimes. So yeah, this history thing, historian stuff, knowledge, it only takes you so far. And as the Bible says, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. So it's better to have love than to have knowledge. It's good to have both, but it's better to have love than to have knowledge. I have a caller. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Are you there?
Russell. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell from Hampton, Virginia.
Hey, Russell, how's it going?
All right. I'm one of the people that believes that everybody has a right to their opinion. They have the right to live their lives however they want to live it. But when I listen to Jesse Lee Peterson, and sometimes you follow suit, it's like anybody that doesn't agree with you and your viewpoint is just wrong. In fact, I was even told that by Jesse Lee, by himself.
Oh, you've called into his show before too?
Yes, sir, I have. And when I actually said to him, well, okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion. I just disagree, and we have a difference of opinion. His take was, well, no, we don't have a difference of opinion. I'm right, and you're wrong.
And do you think he has the right to say that?
I think he has the right to believe whatever he says. Again, my stance is that everybody has, as long as they're not harming someone, then they have the right to believe whatever they want to believe.
Are you a Christian?
No, that's not the point.
No, but it's important to what you just said.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not a Christian.
All right. So, is him saying that wrong in your mind?
I think he's wrong in what he's saying. He can say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
He says a whole bunch of things that I disagree with, that I don't believe in, but technically he has the right to say whatever he wants to say.
And does he have the right to say that you're wrong?
There's a difference in someone having the right to say it and whether they are correct in what they're saying. So I defend 100% that everybody has the right to say, as long as they're not doing harm to anyone, you have the right to say whatever you want to say. You have the right to believe whatever you want to say. But that doesn't make you correct. And that's my biggest thing about Jesse Lee Peterson. That
But you do agree that there is a right and a wrong, do you? That was a leading question. Do you agree that there is a right and a wrong?
Yes, sir, I do. I do believe there is a right and wrong, but that is in the individual.
You mean it's subjective? It's not objective? But I asked you. Right and wrong is objective. It's not subjective. Meaning, what's right and wrong for me is subjective, but what's right and wrong, period, is objective.
No, what's right or wrong for you is right or wrong for you. That doesn't mean that it's right or wrong for everyone.
So you don't believe in an objective right and wrong. Do you believe in God?
That's a complicated question. For me, personally, no, I don't believe. Well, if I take into account everything that Christians say, that God is everywhere.
No. I'm not even because I know you're not a Christian. But do you believe in God? I understand you have beef with Christianity a little bit.
Well, no, I don't have beef with anyone.
No, I mean, you disagree with Christianity. Otherwise, you would be a Christian.
Okay. I believe, no. To simplify everything, no. I'll say no.
That's confusing, though. So, I mean, it sounds like you're like kind of a typical like libertarian, agnostic, maybe, sort of person where you don't really believe in right and wrong. So that's funny that Jesse suddenly bothers you then, because I mean it only makes sense that Jesse would bother you because he stands based on the belief that there is right and wrong, and when he says stuff that he sees as true, he sees it as reality. Okay.
You're trying to spin things, and that's
no.
Not what
I'm just trying to say that I'm giving you back what you're giving me.
No. What I'm trying to say to you is, I live my life in the way that I believe what makes sense. So if it doesn't make sense, then I don't believe that. And in my
hold on. Do you ever do stuff that doesn't make sense?
What
do you ever act irrationally?
Irrational doesn't mean that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
For
it does.
example, no.
All right.
For example, if someone told me that they jumped outside, they went outside of their house and they jumped in the air and flew for 5 miles, that doesn't make sense to me. That's not possible. So I'm not going to believe it. So that's in the sense of what I'm trying to say. There are things that make sense that you can make claims of, and if it doesn't make sense, then I'm not going to believe it.
No, I know, I understand that, and you may not see that it actually makes sense too.
Okay.
So, like, give me an example of something where Jesse says something that you disagree with, but he says that you're wrong, and he says that he's right. Because I hear this complaint a lot that just because I say it or Jesse says it, like, we think we're right and everybody else is wrong. I hear that. I've seen that before.
Okay.
Can you give me an example?
Would you like a specific example
Yeah.
where he told me that I was wrong and he was right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or do you want me to just, because he says many things that
Maybe we have time for two.
For one thing, he had a sermon, because I watch him, and he made a sermon about everyone deserves what happens to them. And
Yeah.
he gave an example during that sermon about a woman that's pregnant, and because she's angry, that traumatizes the child, and they're born homosexual. It's not their fault. Well, no, I'm sorry. It is. They deserve it. It's not. What did he say? It's not unfortunate. It's not unfair. We perceive it that way because we don't understand God's plan and what God has in store for them.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Then
isn't that thought provoking?
Wait, but let me finish.
All right.
But then he has on the Fallen State, Pastor Stephen Anderson, where Jesse Lee says on 3 separate occasions that no, we're not born homosexual. So what is it? He says in one time that we are born homosexual, and then he says when he's on thing with Pastor Anderson, where we're not born homosexual. So what is it?
I don't remember him saying that we're not. Maybe he meant we're not conceived homosexual, and then something happens along. I'm not homosexual, but something may happen to a child along the way during the pregnancy, wherein the woman is angry and when you're angry, it affects your body. It infects your body, and that affects the child probably more than taking drugs.
I don't disagree that there are things that a pregnant woman could do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to disagree with that. What I'm saying is that he said 2 specific things that contradict each other. He said you are not born, and then he said you are born. Which is it?
Well, you'd have to. This is the type of thing that you would have to ask him, because I don't remember him saying that you're not born homosexual. But he has said it, and then he said, "Well, maybe during the pregnancy you could turn the child. I could imagine you turn the child homosexual." But nobody's been inside the mind of a baby, especially not Jesse. Hasn't been inside the mind of a baby to see what's happening to that child. So it's kind of a speculation thing. And this is a really minor question, in all honesty, because who cares? I mean, this is one of those things that we can't really know. I mean, I don't see it as something that we can know. But I mean,
and I agree with you. I agree with you that we can't know that. I agree with you.
But don't you see this as a very picky, minor thing to call Jesse out on?
No, because here's the bigger picture. Because he represents the things that he says as actual fact and truth. And they're not. He can't prove half of the things that he says.
Stuff is true, and you don't have to prove it. There's stuff most of the stuff that's true, there's no way to prove it. Why even bring that up? That's just like a way of dismissing the truth when saying, oh, you can't prove it. But that's basically defying logic, because there's stuff that's true. You can just go into denial and then make all the move the goalposts to say, oh, that's unprovable. But in reality, stuff is true. And the other thing is, one thing that Jesse does, which I think that if you've been listening to him, and I'll let you talk, but one thing that Jesse does is he says, don't believe me. Don't take my word for stuff. I could be making it up or whatever. He wants people to know for themselves. And I hear him say that more than I hear anybody else say that. Have you heard him say that?
Yeah, I have, because I've been listening to him for quite some time.
So then doesn't that tell you that that even though he's saying stuff that he believes to be true, he's not saying, believe me and don't believe your own lying mind. Well, I mean, he does say that your mind lies to you, but he's not saying you can't know for yourself, so you just have to listen to me. He's not like that at all.
Okay, but see, that's the point that you have to take into consideration when I'm saying. I'm not disproving or denying or criticizing him for everything he says. Okay, I give him credit for for example, his lack of education and things like that. He says all the time, I don't know how I got out of high school. So I'm not saying that he lies about everything or he puts himself down for everything or anything like that. My criticism is that he says things as fact, and they're not fact. They are his opinion. And even if you would say, this is my opinion, then I would respect that. But even in the case when I was physically talking to him on the radio, when I said to him, listen, we have a difference of opinion. That's fine. You believe what you want to believe, and I believe what I want to believe, and that's fine. He said to me, no, it's not opinion. It's fact. I'm right and you're wrong.
But you weren't. But this wasn't a discussion about when your disagreement with him wasn't about kids being born gay or kids becoming gay during pregnancy.
No.
So you can't really say that was an example, because there are times when there are times when stuff isn't up for opinion. For example, the question of whether Trump is so-called racist, which it doesn't even exist, but imagine if Trump hates women or something like that. That's actually a question of fact. That's not a question of opinion. There's something that's true and something that's not true. And so I don't know what your disagreement with Jesse was, but some things are not up for opinion.
Okay, but let me just ask this question, okay? Because you're not Jesse. So I'm not going to ask you what Jesse thinks or anything like, because you can't answer that. That's not, I would have to ask him. But my question to you is, does Jesse Lee Peterson know Trump intimately? Does he know? Has he ever met Donald Trump? Has he spent time with Donald Trump? Does he have a history with Donald Trump?
No. What's your point?
Then how can he I can't say the right word. How can he say without question what Donald Trump is? He doesn't know the man.
But he even says that he says from everything I've seen. He always says this, from everything I've seen, he's not angry. That type of stuff. He always qualifies it.
He doesn't, because I've asked him that.
I mean, the thing is, people are so quick to judge President Trump, right? People are so quick to judge in general. In reality, they're not even looking at themselves. So, what's your beef with Jesse defending Trump? I mean, shouldn't you consider innocent unless proven guilty, right? You assume the best of people. And that's one thing that people do not do.
Okay, I can't talk about what other people do. I'm just talking about my personal views. And again, if you say, for example, if you said, listen, President Trump is on the fast track to be the greatest president we've ever had, fine. I have no problem with that. But when you say when President Trump is elected president, that he will be the greatest president that we've ever had, that you're not taking into account what he's done. You have to wait, see what he's accomplished, what he didn't accomplish, and you have to evaluate it after the fact.
But that's how you operate, because you're an intellectual. You don't really see what's going on. Let me bring in another caller to see if he wants to talk with this caller wants to talk with you, Russell. Hang on. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Mark from Diamond Bar, and I would love to talk.
Hey, Mark. Russell, you want to talk with Mark?
That's fine.
All right. Go for it, Mark.
Well, I believe it's pretty simple. Sometimes you can agree to disagree, For example, James likes soccer and cross country. I like jiu-jitsu and judo. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't have a right to tell him he can't say that. But sometimes there is an objective right and wrong. If I say I like to rape girls and it's okay, I'm wrong. Okay? That's not my opinion. I'm wrong. We all know that.
I don't understand your point because I said
sometimes it's right and wrong, and sometimes it's just an opinion. Do you understand that?
Yes, and I agree with you, yes. And that's my point.
So when you were on the radio, you were wrong. You were speaking of morality. You're wrong.
Wait, what was I wrong? What was I wrong about?
When Jesse says you're wrong, when someone says we agree to disagree, it's because of a moral issue.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You don't even know the subject of our conversation when I was told that. So how can you tell me I was wrong and he was right when you don't even know what the conversation was?
How do you know what I know? Your whole argument is just shut up. That's your whole argument. Your whole argument is just you don't have facts. He states it as fact. When did you say this is a fact?
Okay.
He doesn't use that terminology.
Yeah, that's true.
You're using that terminology. You're bringing the standard from a classroom into a Christian radio. We're not here for information. We're here for wisdom.
Okay. All right. Okay. James, do you understand what I'm saying? He's telling me that I'm wrong, and I was totally wrong when he doesn't even know what the conversation. I could have been.
But you don't know that he doesn't know it.
I
vaguely remember I remember Jesse saying, "No, it's not a matter of opinion. You're wrong." So I vaguely remember it. So he may well remember it too. He's a faithful listener.
So what was the conversation? Either one of you. What was the conversation?
What if I remember? What if I don't? Because as soon as I...
But you're the one who's so upset about it, Russell. You're the one who's traumatized by it. You're calling in about it and saying, he doesn't have the right to... He shouldn't be acting like you're saying you're wrong as that's fact. And in reality, you're the one who's mad about it. So you probably remember it more than anybody, but you remember it because you're upset about it.
No, I remember it because I don't call into radio stations. That's why I remember it. And I'm not upset. I'm not upset at all. I have an opinion.
I mean, you're judging Jesse, so you are, upset.
Wait.
I mean, you're hiding behind intellectualism, but that doesn't mean you're not upset.
No, sir. You're on the radio and you're trying. That's real funny. I'm not upset. I'm not mad, and I'm not.
I doesn't even know what he's saying.
Because you don't want to.
No,
he said that you don't know what you're saying.
I know exactly what I'm saying.
You say things like, does Jesse know Trump? Has he ever met Trump? Does he know him intimately? Okay, what if he did?
I can't.
Okay, people know people, and they disagree. Okay, people can disagree. So people know James, and other people know James, and they can have different opinions about him. I guarantee you, if someone's had the same standard for Obama, you'd be like, yes, he's great. Yes, he's great. Yeah, he's great. You wouldn't give the same standard to Trump than you would Obama.
I agree that everybody has their own opinion. I agree. I've said that.
Do you agree that sometimes people are right and sometimes people are wrong? For example, if I were to say it's okay to rape girls, that's not my opinion, I'm wrong?
I agree in some instances there are a difference of opinion what is right and what is wrong.
No, it's not just it's not our opinion.
No. I also agree
that wasn't his question.
If you don't wait. I also agree that if you don't know me and you don't know my situation, then you don't have enough information to give a factual and complete and correct assessment of what's going on.
But I mean, what you don't realize, Russell, is that you're giving away much more than you realize. We all are being judged on stuff that we have no idea that we're giving out, right? Like somebody can look at me for 1 minute and tell what type of personality I have. And they don't even have to necessarily listen to my voice.
That's their opinion.
No, this is fact. You're giving away so much about yourself. You're like an intellectual, kind of an arrogant person, and you're hiding behind that. But in reality, I mean, and you're not even a Christian, and yet you're judging Jesse as, who's a pastor, by the way, of like, oh, he doesn't have the right to say that this is fact when it's not.
And he never said, I'm saying this is a fact. This is fact.
Right, he operates on truth. He doesn't operate on
It's not a
facts.
classroom. It's not a
Why
science
is
room.
that? Wait, why is Jesse Lee Peterson the authority of what's factual, what's not factual?
He's not the authority. He's an authority. He's an authority because
he's
he's
not in the show.
He's an authority because he's a man and because he's a Christian.
Morality.
I have two people.
He never calls himself
talking
the
in my ear, and I
authority.
can't hear them.
Okay, all right.
You have to talk one at a time. I can't.
All right, go, Mark.
My point is, this guy, like most people, where's your empirical evidence? Where's your stats? What's your source? Well, that's a right-winger source. All they have to say is shut up.
Right.
All they have to say is, no, you can't talk. No, you can't speak. No, be quiet. I don't like what you're saying. It doesn't make me feel good. That's why everything this guy is saying is, oh, everyone has an opinion and everyone's allowed because it feels good. It sounds nice. But the thing is, certain things are right and certain things are wrong. And other things, you can have an opinion. I can like chocolate. You can like vanilla. Who cares? There's no big deal. But if I say it's okay to murder people, I'm wrong. And when Jesse says things like, no, it's not agree to disagree, you're wrong, it's because he's talking about morality.
And you know, Russell, one of the things that you said that I don't think that you realized that you did is that you said, who made, or how is Jesse the authority? And Jesse never said that he's the authority. He says all the time he knows nothing but what is revealed to him by God, for example. He's an authority because he's a man and because he's a Christian. He's a pastor because God made him that. And so that makes him the authority. This reminds me of like the same egghead people that hated Jesus because Jesus spoke with authority that people had not heard before. And Jesus, they said, who made you, blah, 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 blah. And there's knowledgeable, intellectual people who are into facts, but they're not into the truth. And they didn't accept Jesus for that reason. And so I think the same thing is happening with you. Like you're kind of like this egghead person where you've retreated into your mind where you can't even discern reality, can't discern the truth. And then you're criticizing Jesse on picky stuff when you're missing the big picture.
Okay, well, listen. Let me just say
that's your opinion.
Hello?
And then he just said, that's your opinion. He's kind of mocking you. And then I got to get to my other caller.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No worries.
And again, you can have whatever judgment of me.
No, you're having judgment on Jesse.
I'm not having judgment.
Go on. Finish your point.
I'm not having judgment on Jesse. I am calling Jesse to task on the things that he says and the contradictions that he makes. He has every right to say whatever he wants to. He has every right to believe whatever he wants to believe. So do you guys. You guys have criticized me left and right, and those are your opinions, and you are fine to have them. And it's like you're criticizing me because I give you the right to say whatever or think whatever you want to think. But that's fine. I understand that support.
We should just put a sign
agenda.
up that says that's your opinion, and it'll be in the radio show the whole time. And you don't have to think about anything.
You probably go to Jesse's church.
Of course I go to Jesse's church.
You probably do.
And what does that mean?
That just means that you're probably
I don't want to keep my other caller on hold too long, guys.
Believers, and that's fine. Listen, I'm sorry. I know you have other callers.
No. Don't apologize.
And I apologize.
No, don't apologize. That's me. I wanted to keep you on. You're pretty interesting. I hope you call again. I'm glad you listen. And don't be so snobby, man.
I'm not snobby at all.
All right.
In fact, I've been accepting of all of your ideas and all of your comments. So, yeah, I don't criticize you for feeling the way you feel or believing what you believe. You have every right to do that. So, listen, again, let me let you go so you can have other callers.
No,
I don't want to monopolize.
I'm letting you go. All right, thank you, Russell.
If that makes you feel better. Okay.
No, that's the truth. I'm letting you go.
All right.
All right, take care. Any last words, Mark, before I get to my other caller?
No, go ahead. Go to your next caller. See you, sir.
All right, thank you. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Maze.
Oh, hey,
I have a
Maze.
question. Hello, how are you doing?
Fine. How about you? What's that?
Now, when you don't like a person's opinion, they got to be angry. They got to be everything except what you are when you are having a discussion with them. So Mark was upset with the guy and called him names. He said if it hurts people, you don't know the difference if it hurt people just because it's your opinion. It belongs to you. It don't belong to James. It don't belong to the person that just finished talking. Your opinion is just your opinion. You don't have any facts to prove it. Just like I say, if you walk down the sidewalk and you're looking at the sidewalk, this is the sidewalk. That's a fact. But if you want to take an opinion and destroy and hate people and try to spread it, that's your opinion. So it's your personal. It's just like then you want to turn around and say, judge ye not, unless you be judged. You don't want to judge people.
But
So
Maze,
you don't want anybody to judge you, but you want to judge all day long.
Mark
so don't
didn't.
have to believe.
What's that?
You don't have to just because somebody said it, then you have to believe it.
But you're criticizing Mark after I already hung up on him. I should have gone to
I'm
you
judging
next
Mark.
and kept
No.
Mark on.
I'm judging the person that's talking on the phone now, that's not saying anything.
Okay, but no. Mark was on the phone just now. I'm not talking about Russell.
No,
Russell was the
not the
black
one
guy.
that
Mark
started
was
name.
the clear-minded
No, not
guy.
the one that you had on a long time. I'm not discussing him. I'm discussing the other one that called
Right,
me all
yeah.
angry.
The other one is Mark.
He don't see his anger. He should listen to himself. He's angry. Happy people don't get angry. They just listen to people with their opinions that they think they have facts with, don't have a clue of what they're talking about, just talking to be talking.
But what's with all
And
these?
then can't
What's
stand
with
up.
all these callers? You people, you
And
guys,
then can't stand up and take it. That's
Calling
your
up
problem.
and-
You can't stand up and take somebody else's opinion.
talking behind people's backs, saying they're angry,
telling-
they're judging, they're.
Let's say it like
wrong.
this, James.
And by the way, Mace, hold on. Mark didn't call him names. I'm the one who called him names. I call him an
Yes,
egghead.
he did. Well, you call him an egghead.
Yeah.
So was that your opinion, or do you know he's an egghead?
It's a fact.
What
No,
makes
it's the
what
truth.
makes that true? What makes it true? Just
Because
you said it?
he talks like an egghead. If he
Well,
talks
that's your
like an
opinion.
egghead, then he's an egghead.
He was just asking a question. Well, that's your opinion and not mine. So you gotta get it mixed up. Your opinion, and then you call people angry because you don't like what they had to say.
But you
That's
know,
what it
Mace,
is.
like the
It's
problem
judging.
is that you're like so good at judging other people. But meanwhile, you're a judgmental person.
I'll take that. So now let me tell you what you are. Since you want to,
Oh, great.
you don't. No, I'm not gonna tell you what you are. I'm gonna tell you
come
what I
on.
think you are. Well, my opinion, because I don't know you. I just see you talking and hear you talking.
Yeah.
From my opinion, me, not the person that's on there that came in to help to defend Jesse, or you, or like Baba Go-To guy. I don't know him, but my opinion of him is not a good thing. And then you
That's
put
why
the
you
name,
shouldn't
use the
have
name of
opinions.
God, because in his commandments, you're not following his law. So if you were following his law, that's a fact, because his law is out there for you to read and use, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm saying. And that
Do
is
you
a
follow
fact, but
God's
not my
law?
opinion. What?
Do you follow God's law?
Sometimes.
Man, that's not
And
good. You're
when I
supposed to
don't-
follow all the time. Aim
Well,
for
you don't follow
perfection,
it
the
at
Bible
all.
says.
You're not following it at all. It's when it says judge you not unless you be judged yourself. So if you want to be judged yourself, let somebody else judge you. Just like I don't care if you judge me. Because if I want to judge you, you should have the opportunity to judge me and not be upset about it. And not call names, not try to do hurtful things. That's his law.
But
that's
you
what's
said
wrong with a lot of
opinions.
people.
Opinions
What?
is judgment.
Opinion is judgment.
Yeah.
I'm saying his law, what it says, judge ye unless you be judged. If you judging somebody else, they should be able to offer the opportunity to do you the same way. But you don't let that. They got to be crazy. They got to be angry. They got to be everything except because of your opinion, but not what the law says.
But I mean,
straighten you out and take you to church.
Maze, hold on. The Bible, the same Bible that says "Judge not, lest you be judged," also says "Judge with righteous judgment."
not-
Christians will judge the world. So now,
Yeah, James. What did the law? Who made the law, and what was it put on? Was it put in the Bible, or was it put on pillow stone?
both.
No. I'm not saying both. So
You're
if it
talking
wasn't
about the
put in
Ten
Bible,
Commandments. God made
Yes.
the Ten Commandments with Moses. Even
and
he
what
made
did
it twice.
Where did he put it?
He put it on those tablets.
Thank you. And so then, who put it in the Bible?
Moses and Paul and all those people, and then
Who were these?
the people who edited and put it together.
And these were men, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. So why do you
What?
got to follow what a man got us? What do you got to follow what they have to say when he left you a law to abide by?
You
So
could
this
you
is
could
true
stand
or
to
fact
listen to
or
men
my
more
opinion?
often.
Is this my opinion or a fact?
What are you talking
You're not
about?
getting his law.
Okay, so you follow the 10 Commandments?
I said, everybody, you should. When you hear people calling people angry and judging people, but then they turn around and they don't want to be judged themselves, and then they want to call people names. Is that godly? No. But then you want to know if you're a Christian or
But I mean, you
believe in
can
God.
call names. You can be name calling for Christ.
So that's what I'm saying. You can be judged too. You were too good to be judged?
No, I'm not too good to be judged.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's the way I see it. So the guy that was on with you that time trying to explain to you his opinion and everybody's opinion. Not
But that's
same,
the
'cause
problem. It's
two
his
different-
opinion.
You can see two different things, and two different people can see two different things, and the same thing happen. But you're going to hear a different story.
Yeah, because they misremember and stuff like that. Anyway,
So if
Maze,
you want to
any last
if
point?
you want to reflect reflect the law, not the Bible, but reflect his laws, do as he say do, not as man see it from the Bible. Have a good one.
Maze, do you support Me Too?
What?
Do you
If I didn't
support the
you, I
Me
wouldn't
Too
be calling
movement?
you. The who?
The Me Too movement. That's when all these women
not
are
gonna hate-
accusing men of sexual assault and all that stuff.
I don't support them, and I don't dislike them either. That's those people's opinion. I don't have nothing to do with it. Some
Man,
people
you're
going
like
on
a
back
total
wagging
hands
people that
off.
shouldn't be
I
there.
don't care
What?
about anything type of person.
No, I didn't say that.
I know, but it's like that.
I'm not going. I don't let people teach me to hate.
Yeah, but you already
I form an
hate. Come
opinion
on.
of what I like.
Be honest.
I form an opinion of what I like and what I dislike. I don't let people help me do it. I was not indoctrinated to do that.
Yeah, but you were indoctrinated to be like, I'm not going to move a step aside on the sidewalk for a white person. I'm
I
going to
didn't.
teach my kids
No, I would not do
to
that.
let
You
white
know,
people
because-
go in front of me in the
You
line.
know why? Because of my opinion, and that's the way I was done, and that's why I don't do it. It's just like when it comes to President Obama, all the stuff that y'all have to say, and then all the stuff that we looking at now, and morals and values. Somebody's morals and values went out the window, and we're looking at it as facts and not opinions.
Obama's morals and values went out the window.
No. He had some, and what we see now, because too many people leaving.
What moral and value
take the women.
What morals and values did Obama have?
Well, he married one woman, and he had children by that same woman. He's still with her. Good enough.
That's
and that's my
low.
opinion.
That's very low standards. I mean,
No, that's not low
granted, many
standards.
people do break them, and I think that you're alluding
Yeah,
to the fact
you
that
said
Trump,
that you're only supposed
Trump
to have
broke
one
it.
wife. You said that this morning.
Yeah,
one
of
wife
course.
is what you said.
Yeah, that's
So,
why people
what he did.
people suffer for that. Trump
Really?
hasn't gotten away with that. He suffered for it, and he doesn't like to talk about the fact that he did that because you shouldn't be talking about your
Well,
sins.
is that good?
It's
I'll
disgraceful.
ask you this. It was good or bad for a president to have the same wife and not two or three?
It's good to
And then
have
look at
one wife.
And look at one person with one wife and have a discussion about him.
Yeah, but I mean,
you
the
look at
point
it-
is, you have to look at the present and you have to understand like reality. Reality is Trump is like a good, strong man who stands on the truth,
Well, that's
and
your
Obama
opinion,
was a
James.
weak, fake,
what you
silly
looking at
man
a strong
who
man-
stood on
what-
homosexuality and feminism and
No. That's what you
racism
look
and
at
all
a strong man.
that junk.
Somebody else won't see the same thing that they look in a strong man.
Yeah.
They look for a peaceful man that don't want to go to war and always doing different stuff. Because I don't like to see people mess with other people in their country. Leave them at peace, and you won't have to worry about people come from Mexico and know other places come here.
I have a caller who may want to
Leave them
talk to you, Maze. Do you want to
Sure.
talk to them?
No problem.
Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Tim. I'm calling from St. Bernard in Louisiana.
Hey, Tim, do you want to talk to Maze?
Yeah,
All right.
I just want to ask Maze why she thinks Michelle Obama is not a man.
What do I think? What?
Why do you think Michelle Obama is not a man?
That's not
Because
good, Tim.
I was not
Don't be
indoctrinated.
spreading
to your food.
don't be
Thank
spreading
you.
rumors. I don't support these rumors, Maze.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is when you get indoctrinated, you say stuff like that. You don't have a fact or a clue. So that's. I mean,
I'm
is
just-
that evil or is it good? So how do you
good
know that I don't know
because-
Michelle Obama? Excuse me. How do you know that I don't know Michelle Obama? Personally.
Oh man,
I'm sorry.
the Hake
then how
report
would
took
you-
Back in
a
the
crazy
time.
turn.
She don't want to talk. She don't want to talk.
No, I'm talking. I just got answered your question. Now, what else do you have to say?
That's mean. Okay, he hung up. All right. That's a good
You don't
thing
make no
because I
sense
don't
with what
support the rumors that about Michelle Obama. I think that she is a woman, just an evil woman.
Well, if you think that,
Kind of
I
like
think,
Obama. Barack is an
can
evil
I tell you what I
woman.
think? Could I tell you what I think about Trump's wife?
Who, Melania?
Yes.
Or
I think
the
she's
way
a
back?
woman from another country that don't understand America. And she's just here rolling along with the program.
Isn't that so beautiful, though? That's like the perfect wife if you have to have like a third or fourth one.
Really, that's what you want.
I mean,
we
you shouldn't,
want to talk about. We want to discuss the perfect wife, but
given
that's
reality,
your opinion.
that's like a good
But
wife.
reality and opinions and being indoctrinated is two different things. Is it like history, as you say, repeat itself?
Yeah, it
Because you can
repeats
find some
itself for the
things that's
people
in
who
history
can't
now
see
and
the
some that
present
was
times.
right there, and you're not in reality.
But who cares?
So-
I mean, why are you judging
You should
Melania?
care.
Who cares? She's
What?
very smart, you know. She can speak like multiple languages and all those things.
Oh, multiple languages. Everybody, you tell a lot of
I know.
people
Not
speak multiple
everybody who's
I ain't saying nothing
brilliant
bad about her.
speaks-
Did
Yeah,
I have
but
to
you-
say something bad about her just because you thought I would say something
You
bad
said
about
that
her?
she doesn't understand America. She's just rolling along, and I said, "Isn't that
No,
beautiful?"
I didn't. I said she doesn't. She doesn't. If you've been around people that don't understand what's going on, that's what you would say about it.
But you don't understand
just-
what's going on. I mean, you raised your kids to like fear racism from white people. That's ridiculous.
No, I raised
That's
my
not
kids
good.
to not. No, I raised my kids to not bow down to Caucasians. That's what I raised.
Yeah,
my kids to do.
that's ridiculous.
You wanna
No
either respect
Caucasians
them,
are asking you to
They grew
bow
up,
down to them.
Jesse, James. They grew up. You're gonna respect them, and they're gonna respect you. If you don't respect them, you're gonna get the same thing back.
Yeah, but you
That's what
said
I-
don't.
And they have
Don't
all kind of
let
friends.
them
They
get
don't
cut
only
in
have
front of you in
Yeah,
line.
James, I taught my kids to have all kind of friends, not Caucasian friends only. They got a picture of the world. They don't have
Yeah,
a
but that's
picture
dumb.
of indoctrination.
Eh,
What?
I wasn't taught to have multiple different kinds of friends, but I was raised in an area where I just did.
Well, did you learn from them, or did you learn from them?
I learned from them.
'Cause-
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right, I got one more caller, Maze.
It's a different
Caller, what's
culture.
your
They
name and
all
where you
have
calling
different
from?
cultures, and you enjoy
Hold
it.
on, Maze. Hold on.
Yeah,
Okay.
I talked to you earlier. I just have one question for you.
Is
Why
this
is it so
Russell
wrong?
again?
Yeah, that's me.
Russell,
Why is it so wrong?
you can only call in once per day.
But it's a very quick question.
Man,
I'm not going to
these
be on
people,
the phone for
these
five.
blacks are taking
5
over
hours.
my show.
You don't even know if I'm black or not.
Yeah, I do.
I'm
Come on,
all-
you're black.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to know, why is it so wrong for someone to believe that everyone has a right to their opinion?
Because
That's all I ever said.
in reality, opinions are judgments, and you think that you have the right to judge Jesse and others, and that's not good. It's not good for you. It's holding you back in life. Like you're too smart for that.
Can I ask Russell a little question?
Yeah, go ahead, Maze, and then we're gonna finish
Russell,
up.
I understand what you mean by having your own opinion, and you don't have to be angry because you have your opinion, and you don't have to agree with. You're not indoctrinated to agree with everything just because somebody teach you to hate.
But you shouldn't have opinions.
That's
I think
what you-
Jesse
it's-
did a little wisdom piece on this.
No, I'm not
Don't
only
have
talking
an opinion.
about Jesse. I'm not talking about Jesse.
No, I'm talking about him,
talking
though.
about people that want people to hate people just because somebody said so. You don't know why you're doing it.
But you're
doing it because
arguing
somebody
against-
gave you the opportunity.
Nobody's saying that
And
you
then-
should hate somebody just because somebody said so. You're making stuff up. That's a straw man argument.
Yes, well, I can name you a whole lot of stuff that people were taught to hate people for and don't understand it. Because you think that I hate Caucasian people. I never told you I hate Caucasian people.
I know,
I said
but
I hate
they're.
some of the things. I said I hate some of the things that I see them do.
We
Now
got to
we're
wrap this
confused.
up.
I
Any
wouldn't-
last words,
Okay.
Russell? Hold on, mates. Let Russell do the last word. Go for
Yeah, I
it.
just think that everybody should be able to have their own opinion, and you have your own opinion, and that's all I was trying to say. Everybody has the right to have their own opinion.
All right.
You can agree or disagree with it, but they have the right to have their own. I mean, isn't that law? I mean, don't we have the right to have our own opinion?
We got to
all I was
end,
trying to
guys.
say.
Thank you. Thanks, Russell.
All right. Yep.
Thanks, Maze. And that's it. Caller, I'm sorry. I have to end the show. This has been the Hake Report. Watch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson at 11 a.m. Pacific. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Subs-